Okay, can you guys see my screen? Somebody can just plop something into the awesome. Okay, well, we're waiting on him. Will you guys holler at me? Tell me where you're calling in from.
Hi, I'm Mary Lynn. I'm an interior designer on Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Yes, wonderful. We've got Florida, Tucson, Dallas, New Hampshire, Fort Lauderdale, Portland, France. Fantastic. Connecticut. Are you guys starting to get fall color up there yet, or is it still green?
Still green.
All right. Vail, hi. We're neighbors. I'm in Denver. Okay, we've got folks all over Orange County. I used to live there long time ago. Austin, that's my hometown. Finery and Cake, wonderful. Emily Bloomquist, ooh, you're in Denver. Send us a shout out. Send me an email, kate@katebendewald.com. We have a little small group that we're starting to put together of local Denver designers. So cool. Wonderful. All right, Peter, are we ready to go? Or are we still hanging out for a little bit?
Let's get started.
Let's get started. Okay. Nobody ever accused me of brevity, so I want to make sure I have time for everything. Wonderful. Okay. And we should have some time for some Q&A at the end, I believe. So I always look forward to that.
Awesome. And Daniel House Club is making a not gigantic, but a nice offer to everybody who attends. So stick around for the end for that. If you don't care about what Kate's saying at all. No. Very excited, Kate.
Well, I just want to say this year I started using Daniel House Club and I am obsessed. I love it. So if you are not currently a Daniel House Club member and user, what are you waiting for? Get on the bandwagon. It's literally like having another team member on your staff. So it's good. Okay, so today we're going to talk about getting the word out, how to build a network that loves to refer you. So what if I told you that it is possible to create a wildly successful business without, number one, having a huge social media following, number two, spending tons of money on ads or social media marketing, or even being an extrovert. People always think I'm an extrovert because I have kind of a big personality, but really I am an introvert, and sometimes being in social events gives me some anxiety. Okay, so when we think about marketing, I like to think of it in terms of these three different buckets. We have in-person marketing, online marketing, and print media. So your in-person marketing is like your networking, volunteering, sponsoring, so on and so forth. Online, that's your social media strategy, running ads, placement in directories, and print. So press ads, print ads, and that sort of thing. There are literally thousands of marketing strategies you could apply to your business. And today we're going to really just hone in on one aspect. Today we're really talking about that in-person marketing strategy and how you stay connected. And I think this is important. There's a research study done by the Nielsen did a global study in 2021 that found that 88% of consumers trusted recommendations from people that they know, far more than any other form of marketing message. Think about that for a second. That is really, really powerful. I don't know about you, but whenever I need, let's say, a new hairstylist or an acupuncturist or chiropractor, I'm typically not going to Google it. I'm going to text my friends and say, who do you know? There's another study that says the referral economy reports that 92% of respondents trusted referrals from people they knew. So this reinforces just how influential trusted personal recommendations are. So that's why we're talking about this today. All right, so you're in the right place if you're tired of relying solely on social media to generate leads. Now, real quick, I just want to say I'm not here to bash social media marketing. I think that it has its place. I think it has the potential to be very powerful. But I've also heard a lot of people say, I am burned out by the thought of trying to manage social media while running a business. So you're in the right spot. So if you feel deflated by low website traffic, or if you feel like traditional networking makes you feel a little sick at your stomach, I know that's me for sure. So today we're going to talk about, we're going to learn how to make the most of your everyday conversations that you're already having. So when you're on the sidelines of a soccer field, or when you're at a PTO meeting or when you're at church or at your whatever, think about the people that you're already interacting with and that you know, and how can you just make those connections even more long-lasting and meaningful. Okay, I'm not talking about being rooted in agendas, right? It's just starts with having authentic conversations. Let your nature and your character do the work. So by the end of the hour today, you're going to learn how to, number one, get plugged in. So where do you start to find these people to connect with that can become what I like to call your evangelist for your business? And when you start to make these connections, how can you make the most of them? How can you start to create these really authentic connections that don't feel icky or salesy or desperate? And this starts from building lasting connections within your existing community. And then also how to stay top of mind, right? It's not beneficial for you to meet somebody just once and then never see or talk to them again. We've got to stay top of mind. It's a busy world. All right, so real quick, my name is Kate Bendewald. I am a corporate dropout. I worked at a large architecture firm before I launched my residential firm here in Denver in really it was 2012, but hit the ground running in 2013. Within just a few years, 90% of my business came from word of mouth referrals. In 2018, I moved to a new state where I knew absolutely no one. And within 2 years, 60% of my business was referral based. And then when I moved back in 2020, so I was gone for 2 years, my design business came back to life simply from word of mouth. I didn't tell anybody. I was back and taking clients. It was just that clients found out and were telling people, and old clients were coming back and wanting repeat business. So I do believe that that is a reflection of having those authentic connections with people and staying top of mind. So we're going to talk about how to do that today. When it comes to marketing strategies, I want you to think of this approach as being more of a gardener and not a hunter. There's nothing wrong with the hunting approach. Sometimes we need quick cash injections. Sometimes there's a time and a place for those methods. Sometimes that's, running Google ads or Meta ads, those sort of things. But what we're talking about here is really cultivating relationships with the people in your community. When you think about gardening, I'm a big gardener, so this comes very naturally to me, but we have to first start with really good soil, right? That's the foundation of growing anything that's beautiful or edible. And making sure that it's healthy and nourished, and then making sure that your plants have plenty of sunlight and water and tending to them over time. Because if you don't, we all know what happens. They die. Okay, so the first thing we want to talk about is how do we get plugged in to our existing community? And then we're also going to talk about how to expand on our existing community. All right, so earlier I asked the folks who joined to grab a piece of paper. Can y'all see me, or do you just see my slides?
I can see you.
You can see me. Okay. I can't see me, but that's all right. So you want to grab a piece of paper and a pen. And I want you to, we're going to do this little exercise. We're going to start it here, and you're going to finish this on your own time sometime in the next 24 hours. I want you to do this. But I want you to start by, actually, I made a little graphic. I forgot I did that. So I want you to just draw a line. I did one here. Draw a line across the top and draw 2 lines down the middle, and I want you to make 3 columns. So it should look something like this. Actually, this comes later. All right, and these 3 columns are going to represent these 3 categories of people. So personal, those are your friends, your family, your neighbors, and past clients. And in the middle column is industry folks. So those are people like contractors, builders, tradespeople, landscape designers, architects. And then in the third column is professional people. So these, and again, we're just thinking of people that you already know. So professional, those are going to be people like your realtor friends, your lawyers, bankers, mortgage guy, your esthetician, your chiropractor, your doctor. Okay, so I'm going to set a little timer for 30 seconds, and I want you to just brainstorm. Just see if you can think of 5 people in each category. All right, so take a minute and do that. Wish I had the Jeopardy soundtrack to go with this. Anna says it's playing in her head. Somebody asked to go to the slide. Yeah. Under industry folks, you might even want to think about other interior designers. Other interior designers are going to come into play here a little bit later. All right. I just realized I set my timer for 30 minutes. We have about 10 seconds left. Okay. All right. So by now you should have a list of just at least a couple of names of folks that you already know, people that you could call, email, take to lunch, whatever. What I want you to do for now is go ahead and set this page aside, because we're going to actually come back to it and we're going to do something, one more little step to this. But I want to talk about a few other things first. But this is your low-hanging fruit list. These are the people who already know, like, and trust you. And we're just going to start to get into a habit of reminding them of what you do and how you help people, okay, so that you are top of mind. Okay, so again, this is what your column should look like. Your column should look like, and just hang on to this and we'll come back to it in a little bit. All right, so you've inventoried your network. You've thought about who do you know. Now we want to start to expand our network of people. I'll be honest, I am not, the thought of going to a networking event and having chit chat with people that I don't know is, you might as well ask me to have an extra hole in my head. Like, I don't enjoy doing those things personally, but depending on the event, I can go to an educational event. I can go to fundraisers, those kind of things. Those are wonderful places to meet people. So what I want you to do is I want you to, sometime in the next 24 hours, I want you to inventory event calendars of things happening in your city or community over the next month. Here are some places you can check out. I want you to look at Eventbrite. Go to Eventbrite and search women in business, or interior designers, or architects, or whatever keywords, and just see what's coming up. So I had done a couple of these, and these were some things that came up. There was the Women Who Startup Revival, who I went to. It was amazing. I met some incredible people. So Eventbrite is one. You can look at your local Chamber of Commerce chapter, see what's going on their calendar. The AIA, Association of Architects. I'm forgetting the acronym. ASID, IIDA, ACG is Association of General Contractors. They typically have an open door policy and welcome designers. If there's an historic preservation society, see what's happening there. If there's a gardening society, maybe you're into gardening. It doesn't have to be specific to interior design. It can just be anything that you're interested in. It can be an event for, maybe you're politically active and you want to get involved that way. What I want you to start to do is expand your network of people that are like-minded, and that you can start to meet and get to know. And the goal here is to start to see what's going on and get yourself plugged in. And I want you to find just one event that you can go to. Very simple, over the next month. In the next 24 hours, you're going to inventory the calendar and you're going to RSVP for one event and go to it. Okay. Now, in the next couple of slides, we're going to talk about, once you start to do this, once you start to get out there, how do you make the most of those everyday conversations and connections? And this starts with being intentional. So authentic connections start with authentic conversations. By the way, wonderful book, The Art of People by Dave Kirpin. I recommend that for anyone. He says, there's no better way to show that you care about a person you're meeting than to genuinely and authentically ask what you can do to help. So if you don't take away anything today, I want you to think about, when you're having conversations, how can you start to really focus on asking lots of really good questions. Get folks to talk about themselves. Ask them about, they go anywhere fun this summer? Do they have any plans for the upcoming holiday? What projects are they working on right now that have them really excited? Oh, you're a chiropractor. What are some myths about chiropractic that people think? Get them to talk about what they do. The reality is, even though we are a big, crowded planet, we're actually a very lonely community of people. And people want nothing more than to be seen and heard. And when you start to do this, you start to have these conversations where you're genuinely showing interest in who they are, what they do, what lights them up. You're going to walk away from that conversation having a new friend. And it will feel far more effortless than just simply asking somebody, well, what do you do for a living? So really start to show interest in what they do. Number 2, be a resource. So Dave Cribbin said, asking how you can help. Being a resource can be introducing them to somebody, sharing a book or a podcast or an article that you've read that connects back to what you talked about. So I just met a new friend who lives in the neighborhood, and she just moved in, and she's a therapist, and she's looking to get connected with other therapists. So I introduced her to another therapist friend of mine who has a little meetup group. It's very simple. It happens very organically if you just put a little bit of thought into it. Introducing people can be one of the most beneficial ways that you can help build long-lasting connections with people. So first, be interested, not interesting. And number 2, be a resource. And number 3 is ace your conversations. So you always want to start your conversations with people with your focus on them, right? Asking questions, learning more about them, showing interest, being interested, finding ways to be a resource. If you, again, think of something that you can share with them, do it. But then eventually, and maybe this is on the first visit, maybe it's on the 3rd visit with them, who knows, you'll be the one that can navigate that and know what's right for you in the moment. But at some point, you will have a really good opportunity to start to talk about what it is that you do. And this is where I think we fall kind of flat. And I know I did this for a really long time. It's like somebody asks you, well, what do you do? Well, I'm an interior designer. And then it's just crickets. Because they're like, what do you do? Chop pillows and pick out paint colors, right? How many of you, and you can put it in the chat, how many of you feel like the work that we do is completely misunderstood by the general public? Yes. Yeah, exactly. So this is your opportunity to change that. So we're going to ace our conversations. Here's what I mean by that. So A stands for authority. So we have to start to educate people on what it is that we do. A good way an easy way to do this is to debunk myths. So for example, let's see, and I feel like my brain's not firing on all cylinders, and I'm trying to look at the chat. So here we go. Can you guys put into the chat, what are some myths that people have about what designers do? Just shop. So perfect, right? You're a shopper. Anybody else? It's not a real job. Oh, yeah, make things look pretty. Pass on discounts, pick out pillows. Yeah, right. It has a very limited view of what we do. But in reality, what is it that we really do? We change lives. We heal people. We solve problems. We help marriages, create meaningful spaces. Oh my God, you guys are so on it. You get it. Manage their entire project. And what's the benefit of that, right? You're giving them their time and freedom back. Inspiring homes where people can thrive. Yeah. So the A in authority is talking about what you do with so much conviction that people start to perk up and sit up a little taller. Explain this to me. Tell me more. Do you see how much more intriguing that becomes, and how much more depth you provide to the work that we do. So a really good way that you could start to speak about what you do is to debunk myths and speak about what you do with more authority. C is confidence, right? Stop minimizing the importance of and the value of the work that you do. We improve people's lives every single day. Okay, just ask me about the homeowner who had PTSD from being face to face with an armed home intruder, and how we use design to help him have a space that felt more safe and calming. Ask me about the mom who felt like her kids had one foot out the door to college and they were going to be gone forever, right? And how we designed a kitchen space where those last years in high school, her kids wanted to hang out. They wanted to bring their friends over, and she was able to spend more quality time with her kids. Okay. Asked me about the family who had a teenage son who lived at home in a wheelchair, but the countertop to their eat-in kitchen wasn't deep enough. So every morning when he went to eat his cereal, he's spilling milk into his lap. I don't know who wants to start their day like that. Okay, so there are so many ways that the work that we do impacts and improves people's lives. And so I want you to start talking about what you do with so much more confidence. And then the last one is excitement. It's not hard for me to get excited about what I do, but the best way to do this is through storytelling. So start to think about some of those stories. I just shared 3 of mine with you. Start to think about some of those stories about how you've improved lives, and start to weave those stories into your everyday conversations. We're wired for story. Just ask Brene Brown. People respond to that. That resonates with them. So you're going to start to focus. You're going to think about your existing network. You're going to start to inventory events, and you're going to start to build out that network and community of people that you know, and you're going to get to know them genuinely and start to understand who they are, what makes them tick, what lights them up. And then when it comes time to talk about you, you're going to talk about what you do. You're going to ace your conversations with authority, confidence, and excitement. Okay, how am I doing? Is this resonating? Put it in the chat if this feels like, oh, we could improve our conversations a little bit when we're talking about what we do. Yeah, all right. Cool.
We have one hand up. Is there
We got one hand up.
question?
Cool, go ahead, Jody. We're also going to save some time for questions at the end, so I might just keep going, and because I want to make sure I have time to get through all of this before we wrap up. Okay, so we're going to ace our conversations. Now we're starting to make connections. We're starting to meet new people. We're starting to really build a deep sense of community in the world around us. How do we stay top of mind? It is a very busy world, and there's a lot going on, and there are some really simple ways that you can stay top of mind with the people in your community. So let's talk about how do we do that. Okay, so one of the things I want you to start to do is have a connection check-in every single week. So this is once a week. You can make it 30 or 60 minutes, whatever feels right for you, and make it a recurring calendar event. For me, I have marketing Mondays, so I have no meetings on Mondays typically, unless it's a marketing meeting. But that is my day for invoicing and marketing. It's really marketing and money Mondays. A lot going on Mondays. But every single Monday, I make 30 to 60 minutes to connect with the people in my industry. I actually use it's on Google and Gmail, but I'm pretty sure it's in Outlook too if you use that. But you can do send later. So even on Mondays, if I'm sending emails, I know other people are busy and slammed on Mondays. I will schedule that email to get sent on like a Thursday afternoon. So you can do that if it makes sense. But you don't have to be doing this all the time. Just sit down and do it once. But what you're going to do during this connection check-in every single week is you're going to follow up on the things that we talked about. So you can make those introductions, share a resource. Resources are things like podcasts, episodes, websites, books, whatever you talked about with that person. And maybe it made you think of a relevant resource that could be helpful for them. It's so nice to know that somebody else is thinking about you and you can share that with them. Invite people to coffee or lunch. Yes, these things take time, so be strategic about it, but it is one of the best ways to really get to know somebody and build your network and make it even stronger. If they have a newsletter, sign up for their newsletter, invite them to an event, send them a thank you note, follow them on social media, and engage with them on social media. And I just do this because I enjoy it and I think it's fun and I like to see what people are doing, and then it just has that added benefit of knowing that they know that they've got a fan in you. So that's great. And then again, don't be afraid to ask for referrals. Okay. And I'm going to give you some suggested language for when you feel like the time is right to go ahead and ask for that referral, how to do that, because there's some simple ways to do it that doesn't feel icky or slimy. So this is what my connection check-in looks like on my calendar. So I just use the little description area to put in some quick notes of who I need to follow up with and check in on. But make sure that you make that a recurring calendar event and stick to it, okay? Once you start to make this a habit, you'll start to see that it's funny. It's like, I forget who says where the energy goes, energy flows. It's so true. I feel like every time if I've maybe been in a lull or a slump, which this summer I was feeling I was in my summer era, and all of a sudden I was like, I should probably check in with some people. And so I spent, an hour just checking in with people. And by the next week, my calendar was full with, either lunches with people or discovery calls or whatever. So I promise if you do this and you make it a habit, you will start to see the benefits roll in. Okay, so that piece of paper that we made earlier, I want you to bring that back up. So it should look like this, and you should have some names next to it. So I made you a little cheat sheet. What I want you to do next is I want you to go through each name, and I want you to think of how you might connect with them, right? You're not going to take everyone to lunch or coffee, right? That you wouldn't make any money doing that. But maybe you can just send them a text and say, hey, I saw your realtor friend, and you saw their yard sign in somebody's yard. I saw you have a new listing in our neighborhood. Congrats. How you doing? How's business? How's life? It doesn't have to be a pitch of any kind at this point. It's just simply staying top of mind. Sometimes it's a direct ask, right? And I'm going to share some email templates with you in a second, so that when you're ready to send that, you can do it in a way that feels really comfortable. But go through this list. If you think it's somebody you want to take for coffee, put a C. Sorry, that's my kid's school calling because she's homesick today. I'll call them back later. If it's email, put an E next to it, so on and so forth. T for text, R for resource, or I for introduction. And maybe you have other ways. You can certainly add your own, but just simply put next to their name, how are you going to connect with them? Okay. And so your job is now, for sometime in the next 24 hours, I want you to finish fleshing out this list. Add as many names as you can think of. Keep it nearby, because you're not going to think of everybody right away. You're going to be on a walk or taking a shower, and you're going to think of somebody. Come back and add their names, and then think of how you might connect with them. And then your next job is sometime in the next week. So today's Wednesday, September 3rd. So let's say by next Wednesday, reach out to at least 5 of those people, right? It might feel overwhelming. You might not go through this whole list. I just don't think that's practical. But who are maybe 5 people that you could send a text to, or send a resource to, or whatever, and just do something to let them know that you're thinking about them. All right, does that feel doable? Does that feel like a simple enough way to stay in touch with folks that you can do something like this? Yes, and it doesn't feel pushy. Good. I love to hear that. I got a thumbs up. Wonderful. Yeah, it's got to be simple, folks. We're busy. We got work to do. We've got client work to do. This should be very, very simple and quick and fast and effective. Okay, now, when it's time for you to send an email asking for a referral, I think a lot of times we can feel like, oh, I don't want to sound pushy or desperate, right? Does anybody ever feel desperate or pushy if you feel like you're asking for their referrals? I know I have. Feel free to take a screenshot of this. This is just an example of an email that you can send to somebody. In this example, and I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but a couple of things that are kind of important to point out here. Here, I'm saying that this fall, I have room in my schedule to take on one new client, right? Does that sound desperate? No, it's like, I got room for one person. Let's slot it in with somebody, right? With the right person. Next, I'm putting in language that clearly points to who my ideal client is and who are the kind of people that I want to work with. And then of course saying, no pressure at all. And I've always got time to help you if you need something as well. So writing a simple message like this shouldn't feel desperate or salesy in any way. This is really just about being intentional. I've got one more example. So if you want to ask somebody for coffee, again, feel free to screenshot this and make it your own. You're gonna pick one event to go to this month and make an attempt to meet somebody. You're going to engage them first and learn more about them and find out as much as you can about them. You may or may not, on this initial visit, talk about yourself. And that's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with walking away from a conversation, talking very little about yourself. But I do want you to try it, no dead ends. So if you meet somebody and you genuinely want to stay engaged with them, ask them, where can I find you on Instagram or LinkedIn, or can I get your number? Could we go to coffee? Or maybe they have a newsletter. I want to sign up for your newsletter. What's your website? Do not end that conversation with any dead ends. Find a way to stay connected. And then when you do your connection check-in on Monday or Friday or whenever you establish is your day, this is a simple invite to see if they want to go to coffee and say, I want to learn more about your business. I typically find that other business owners, people who have referral-based businesses, are more than happy to go to lunch or coffee with somebody, right? Coffee can be 30 minutes. It doesn't have to take up a lot of time. And so these are just some simple ways to reach out and stay top of mind. Okay, so we're going to review, and then I've got a couple of quick announcements, and then we'll have time for questions. So first, you want to get plugged in. You want to inventory your network. You want to inventory events. Then we want to start to have more authentic and engaged conversations, be interested and be a resource and ace your conversations. And last, we want to stay top of mind and have a connection check-in on your schedule every single week that you commit to. Even if you're just making one connection during that time, make it a habit. Okay. Real quick, I've got a free guide. I know that meeting people that you've never known and striking up a conversation can sometimes be difficult, but I've got a guide that gives you some simple but powerful conversation starters. So if you scan the QR code or go to designersoasis.com/spark, you can grab that guide that's going to give you some conversation starters. By the way, Designers Oasis, I didn't mention this at the top, but we support interior designers who are running their own business, whether you're just getting started or whether you're a seasoned designer. We have a number of ways that we support designers, and we'd love to have you come hang out with us. If you like this and you want more, we do have an event, a free event next week. I'm so excited about this event. This is called Rewrite the Rules, Build a Business That Feels Like You, where we're going to talk about how you can build a business with peace and profit and portfolio-worthy projects. So we've got 2 sessions next week. They're live. One is at 1 p.m. Eastern, and the other one is at 3 p.m. Eastern. So if you scan that, you can RSVP, and I'd love to see you all there. That's it. Thank you. If you want to keep up, you can find me at designersoasis.com or on Instagram at Designers Oasis. I also have the podcast, which you can find on wherever you listen to podcasts. So that's there. Thanks, guys. You guys want to get into some questions? Oh, the QR code isn't working. Okay. The URL I'll go back for the event. It's designersoasis.com/peace. Was that the one that wasn't working?
We can also, as a follow-up,
Okay.
or if you were to email the concierge, if you didn't capture this, email concierge@danielhouse.club, and we can help you find
Okay.
this with Kate.
Yeah, there's two. There's the event next week is /peace, and the conversation starters is /spark. So hopefully pretty easy to find. All right. I'd love to hear your questions.
Looks like Sharon.
Sharon. Are they unmuting or are they writing it? Because I cannot see the questions.
Oh, okay.
I think Sharon, go ahead and ask your question. Good to see you.
Hi, Peter. Hey, Kate.
Hi.
I just discovered you yesterday with this coming up meeting, so already signed up for your event.
Yay, cool.
It looks really good. Thank
It'll
you.
be fun.
I love your style and all the things. So
Oh,
very
thanks.
inspiring. I need
I'm
that.
such a huge fan of the design community. It's my life's work. What's your question?
We are great. I am thinking about, I'm doing a monthly email newsletter right now. I just wondered if that's something that you feel like is a good stay top of mind. I struggle a bit with knowing what to put in that.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on those kind of monthly newsletters or weekly or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it is a fantastic approach to your business. And I think this is really great for people who are, if you enjoy writing or if you are an introvert, I think that it is such a good way to share your expertise, show your passion, share your projects and what's going on behind the scenes and help and stay top of mind. Here's what I have to say about having a newsletter. Number one is really do need to be consistent. So whether that's weekly or monthly, be honest with yourself about what you can achieve in that time. I also think it could be really, if you've got the resources, it can be really beneficial to get help with, maybe you outline in a Google Doc what it is that you want to say and put in that, but then have a graphic designer or somebody else sort of what am I trying to say? Make it look good.
Yeah, the template. Make it look good.
Format it. That's what I'm looking for. Format it and make sure that it gets sent. And I also think that there's so much that you could put in there. I would maybe start by brainstorming a couple of things. First of all, think about what is your audience and the type of people that you're looking to attract. What would they be interested in? Also, what's your area of expertise? So I'm a science and design certified designer. So I love to talk about neuroaesthetics and biophilia. So that's something you'll often see me talk about in my newsletter. We're working on consistency on our end. I just hired somebody to help me, but the idea is that we do a once a month blog and twice a month newsletter, and she's helping me get on that regular cadence. But we'll also do a teaser to our most current blog post. I think lifestyle is a really wonderful way that you can incorporate topics around, maybe there's a great new restaurant people should try out, or a cool event that's coming to town, or a new exhibit at the at the local art gallery, right? My clients are also art collectors and art lovers, so it would make sense for me to have something like that in my newsletter. It needs to provide value, right? If every single newsletter is pitching your services, they're going to unsubscribe. So I would do it on a cadence of, every 5 emails is just your straight up newsletter where you're providing value. Create your standard pillars of the information you're going to put in there. And then, at the end, just say, hey, and whenever you're ready and you want to work together, here's the link to book a discovery call. But providing something in their inbox that's of value and is not necessarily outright selling. And then maybe once every 5th email, you're like, hey, we've got room in our calendar for a new project.
Great advice. Thank you.
Who else? I see some questions in the chat. Should I adjust those? So I see ACM says suggestions when you're brand new in town and are having trouble breaking in. Yeah, this was me in 2018. We moved across the country and I knew literally no one. I think, think about what your personality is and what you like to do. For me, I got involved in 2 areas. I joined the board of a nonprofit. Sorry. I joined the board of a nonprofit that was aligned with some advocacy work that was important to me. And then I also joined a political party that was doing some work there. And I just started to meet really great people. I tried to go to some networking events and I drove and I sat in the parking lot and then I turned around and went home. So, and my girlfriend who I met there, some of you may be familiar with the Designers Getting Coffee podcast that I had years ago with Leslie Myrick. Leslie loves those things. She will go work a room like a pro. And if that's you, go do it. I love it. That is just not for me. And so I think we just have to be honest and true to ourselves and what works. So getting yourself involved with some areas that matter to you. The arts are a really wonderful place to get involved. Typically people who appreciate interior design and beautiful things are going to appreciate the arts, whether that's theater or the visual arts. So see if you can get involved with some places that way. There's check out again, go to the local calendars, go to your Chamber of Commerce. What are some directories that you can get listed in? There's I feel like every town has some sort of a women in business group. Get plugged into that. But just start doing the research and see where you can plug yourself in and think about where your ideal clients are, but also where are people that are adjacent to them. So again, thinking about realtors, lawyers, bankers, mortgage lenders, right? Those are all people who are dealing with clients who we may share and have in common. What other questions do we have? I'm going to scroll up because I feel like I saw some. Oh, Anna asked, how do we gear this towards higher net worth clientele if that has not been our past clientele? Yeah, again, think about where they might be. Maybe you join a local tennis club or country club or horseback riding club. There's every year. So where I live, my clients don't live in the neighborhood where I live, but they live on the other side of the highway here. And every year they have this wonderful event that's open to the public that's a vintage car show, and I just happen to love vintage cars, so I love going there and meeting people and chatting and talking, and those are all people that are potential clients. So look and see what are the neighborhoods where you want to be working in, and try to find ways to get yourself hooked in there. There's so many ways you can market yourself. You can sponsor schools and have your signage outside of the school there. There's all kinds of ways that you can do it. But when it comes to connecting with people, which is what we're talking about now, start to think about where they're showing up and how can you sort of put yourself in that area in a way that feels natural for you. You guys are a quiet bunch. What other questions do you have? Oh, I'm in a Rotary group and many are retired business owners, perfect clientele, and you're helping your community. People of influence in my community. Perfect. Wonderful. Any other questions?
Maybe there's a question about how do you recommend working with realtors? Karina, is that your question?
Oh, yes, I see it. Okay, great. Yeah, realtor. I love working with realtors. There are a lot of different ways that you can get connected with realtors. One of my favorite things to do is to go to open houses. My youngest daughter, who happens to be a wonderful wingman, loves to go to open houses with me. I don't go and pretend that I'm house hunting because I'm not, and that would feel inauthentic to me. But I do just say, I'm an interior designer. I just happen to really love homes, and this is a beautiful home on the market. And I just had to come take a peek, and they love that. They're like, oh, cool, come on in. What's your name? Tell me about your business. And it's just, it's not awkward at all if you're just truthful, and they love to meet you, and I try, if there's a bunch of people there, I'm trying not to take too much of their time, but I grab their card, I say hi. I actually have made friends with a realtor who I met at an open house. And every month she sends me a little video with a market update. And so she and I have developed this little texting chat conversation because I watch her videos. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so interesting. Thanks for sharing. I love your videos. And now she'll send me a message and say, hey, I've got an open house coming up this weekend. Stop by if you can. So going to open houses is one way. When I first moved to Texas, I worked really hard to develop relationships with realtors. And I saw somebody said, I've had zero luck with realtors so far. I will say that I've had a mix of experiences. Some have been totally flat. Like I've had some realtors who are like, will you help my client for free or whatever? And I think it's important that we educate clients realtors about what we do. I think the high-end realtors know and understand the difference between, what we do versus what maybe other people think. So educating them is one thing. But what I started to do for a little while there was I tried to do presentations in their office, but they really were not open to that. They just said their realtors are too busy, and I wanted to be respectful of their time. So instead, I just made a simple one-page informational PDF that I printed, and I took it, and I have this amazing chocolate chip cookie recipe with sea salt on it. And I made a giant batch of these chocolate chip cookies and put them in a pretty package. And I went to 5 real estate offices, and I asked if it was fine, and they said sure. And I went and I dropped off these cookies at 5 offices, and I left behind my my one-page information where they could find me. So I wasn't taking up any of their time. I dropped off their cookies, and a couple of them reached out, and just we made connections that way. So that's another way. And one last thing, and then we'll move on to another question, is go to realtor.com and look at the listings of the homes that would be in the sort of neighborhood or the range that you want to work with, and look at who the listing agents are for those, right? There's a lot of realtors who, they're representing homes that are not at the caliber of your clients and where you want to work. So you really want to be intentional to connect with the realtors who are buying and selling homes at the level where you want to be working. So again, go to realtor.com, do a search in the neighborhoods and the types of homes that you want to work with, and find that realtor, and then see if they're having an open house, and go say hi and go introduce yourself.
Hey, Kate, I was going to interject on this one because I've had a very mixed bag with realtors too, but
Yeah.
I agree. Like even just driving around the neighborhood that you think that you want to work in, you will tend to see like 1 or 2 realtors representing everybody in that neighborhood. So those would be the ones you go after. And one thing I have had success with is going into open houses, leaving, and then sending the realtor sketches of what I would do. And then I've actually had them like, this wasn't my goal, but they like mounted those on foam core as part of their open house tour. I didn't get the job for that specific house, but I got a job in the neighborhood as a result of them. So
I love that so much.
yeah, that was a cool.
You guys know it's a really simple way you can do what he's talking about. I have an iPad, and oh my gosh, the app. I don't have my iPad on me, and I'm spacing out because perimenopause. I can't miss out. I will think of it, and I will send it to Procreate. Download the app Procreate, take a picture, and with your Apple Pen, I do this for all of my consultations. I sketch right over them, like, here's what I would do here. And it's so fast and so simple, and you can fire that off to them. But that's a really smart idea. And the other thing that you can do when I love driving and looking at homes. Actually, even better, grab a friend and a coffee and go for a walk in the neighborhoods where you want to be working, and take note of not only the real estate signs, but the contractor and builder signs. And you can, follow up with them and say, hey, I was out for a walk this weekend and I saw your name outside of the whatever property. Looks like a great project. I'm wondering if I could connect with you sometime and maybe I can bring breakfast tacos by your job site for your workers or take you out for coffee or whatever. But you can do 3 things in one trip. You're catching up with a friend, you're getting exercise, and you're making connections with potential partners in your community. I think I might do that this weekend.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. All right. We got a few more minutes. Any other questions? Yeah, get out of the box and out from behind the computer. I'm definitely guilty of getting stuck behind my computer trying to network and make connections that way. And there's just nothing that beats the face-to-face connection of, meeting people and getting to know them. Someone asked about introducing yourself with builders. Yes, builders are wonderful resources. Think about what your area of expertise is. I personally I do kitchen and bath design as well as whole home furnishings. I love furniture. Just ask Daniel House Club. So I don't do as much new construction. I certainly would if a project came available, but that's just what I sort of have become known for and what I like. So for me, what I'm coming to what you could, if that's you, which you're going to builders, to say like when they're ready to move in, we can sort of take the ball from there in terms of making it their own. But builders, think about what their pain points are. They're interested in saving time and saving money. So a lot of times they'll have clients who come and want to build a custom home or do a major renovation, and they have the ideas and they have the Pinterest board, but they don't know the exact materials that they want and where it's going. And so you can play that middle role of supporting both the builder and the homeowner and helping get all of those specifications organized. So the next time that builder has a client come who doesn't have all their what together, you can be the first person that they call. Now, the other thing that I would say is if you're thinking about going into business with builders where you're basically getting hired or contracted by the builder to do design work for them, that's sort of a whole different approach. And there's absolutely nothing wrong about it. But in that case, that becomes your client rather than the homeowner. And so you need to have a whole business strategy around that and a website, a web page rather, that says, are you a builder? If yes, click this button. And then that copywriting on that page is directly geared towards builders and how you can help alleviate their biggest pain points. So the first thing I would do is start to do your research, take some builders out to lunch or coffee and find out what is your biggest pain point in your job in terms of working with clients, and see how you can help bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be.
I think maybe one more question, and then I want to pitch our
Yes.
Someone has asked, how should a solo business owner respond when realtors, builders, and others ask about their team?
Be honest. There are some really great benefits of being a solo business owner. First of all, you're not going to be a solo business owner forever, probably. But if that's where you are right now, I would just spin it as when your clients work with me, they're going to have a really high touch, personalized experience because I'm going to have a clear understanding of everything that's happening in that project. And when the time comes where I get to the point that I need more support, I'll be ready to hire at that point. And a lot of designers, even though you're a solo designer, maybe you outsource your drawings or maybe you outsource project management and have a virtual assistant that helps you with things. They're part of your team too. And so just because they're not, an interior designer or assistant designer, and just because they're not in person doesn't mean they're not a part of your team. So don't be afraid to shine a spotlight on them too.
Totally. Okay, well, I think there's one more question, but I want to make sure that we make this offer. So maybe we can type a response to Claire's last question. At the very
Yeah.
So thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, Kate, for coming to us and wanting to host something together. This has been, I always feel like I learn so much from you. So I'm really grateful. So for everybody who's attended, we are offering them $100 in shopping credit at Daniel House Club. And I do think we probably have some people here who are not very familiar with what we do. So we are a resource for interior designers. We like to call ourselves the quickest place to find and actually purchase what you're looking for. And we have, we're really more than a shopping platform. We're sort of your back of house for all of your project needs. And we're really good at the logistical nightmares that are inevitable in design. So, and Robert Fodor, who is our VP of Sales, is also on the call. So I'd love for him just to wave and say, hey, he's an amazing resource for all of you. So Robert, do you want to say anything?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Hi, Kate. How are you?
Hi.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the other nice thing is my team, which is the concierge services team here at Daniel House, we are all former interior designers or current interior designers or who have worked in the trade for quite some time. So we understand how to talk not only with all of you as designers, but also how to speak with vendors. We ask the right questions, things like that. And just a little bit of how I got into the industry, Kate. I was a former interior designer here in New York City. And I did my marketing very inorganically as well. And I actually was selling pieces on Craigslist. This was many years ago, before there were any other platforms to sell anything on.
Yeah.
And that's how I got my first client. They were just buying pieces from me. So if you have excess inventory, which a lot of designers do, maybe think about kind of marketing yourself in that way as well. Because if people see the products that you use, potentially even in a setting that it's being used in, they'll see your work. And that's actually how I got my first job. People were like, where are all these pictures coming from? Oh, it's my apartment. So, it was very, very, just kind of word of mouth. And then I got 5 other clients from that same building. So it was,
Awesome.
Just really, really great opportunity, I think, to showcase your work. So, yeah.
I love that.
Awesome. Thank you, Robert. And thanks for coming and always being available to all of our members. So one quick final note is if you received this invitation through a Daniel House Club email, we've got your information. If you are excited about $100, whether you're a member or not, so if you're not a member, you would have a free membership with that $100 waiting for you. If you're concerned it's possible that we don't have your information, please just put it in the chat, your email address, or feel free to reach out to concierge@danielhouse.club and let them know you were here for that $100 shopping credit. So, Kate, any final stuff?
No, but I will just say that, the other part of running a successful business is your client experience, and Daniel House Club really can make your client experience so much better and so much more streamlined and give you so much time back. So highly, highly recommend partnering with Daniel House Club to be your secret weapon.
Awesome. I'm going to leave the chat open for a few minutes just so I get all these email addresses that are coming in.
Absolutely.
But,
well, I'm going to run. You guys come join me next week. We've got another fun event coming. I'd love to see you all there.
Awesome.
All right,
Bye,
bye
Kate.
for now. Take care.